Hi, and welcome to TARDIScuss, episode number 4. We are discussing arachnids in the UK, and tonight we're going to discuss non-episode related fun things and then dive into the episode with Into the TARDIS, and then we're going to finish with some episode hills we'll die on. I'm Emily, and I'm running a little late tonight, so I'm just drinking a bottle of water. And our question of the week is going to be our least favorite monster. And mine is the Zygons because, ew. And I'm going to turn it over to Lorena, and she's going to talk about her least favorite monster.
Thanks, Emily. Hey, everyone, it's Lorena. I have a cold, as you may be able to hear, so I am drinking water. And my least favorite monster is actually the Stenza. Now, it used to be the Absorbaloff because the Stenza didn't exist yet. But I just don't like how evil they are, and I more don't like how gross they are. So it's like the combination of all the bad things. So yeah, I'm gonna throw it now to our stand-in for Laura. Laura is out this week. She had surgery, as she mentioned. It went well, so all good things there. But we're going to introduce you to Laura's stand-in, and she is going to tell you about her least favorite monster. So, hello, I'm Laura stand-in. I'm a sock puppet for those of you listening. And I'm not drinking anything because I'm a sock puppet, and that would be weird. And my least favorite monster is spiders. I hate spiders. I can hardly even talk about it. I hate spiders. The worst. So yeah, that's it. Back to you,
Laura,
Emily.
did you like this episode?
I hated this episode. I really hated it. Do you want me to jump into my ratings?
No, not yet. I just wanted to
Not
know
yet.
how you felt about this episode, if that was your least favorite monster.
I hated it.
Okay. So before we go into the episode, I just wanted to get a little more from Laura Sock Puppet. If you want to leave us a comment on the YouTube's channel, go ahead and do so we can answer your questions. If you also hate spiders as much as Laura, please let us know. We're gonna talk about a few other things that you might have seen shared. This is sort of related to the episode. Chris Chimbal was the showrunner on Torchwood for a time, and there was an article that Radio Times shared that John Barrowman said he would love to have Chris revive Torchwood. Lorena, how do you feel about that? I know John Barrowman has been reviving those flames, those little sparks, as often as he can.
Yeah, I think he just likes working. And maybe he likes Cardiff a lot. I don't know. I would be fine with it. I've seen the first kind of 2 full seasons, and then they sort of did non-seasons with just almost more like a mini series. And I thought the mini series were really impactful. The full seasons were kind of they got a little ridiculous, I won't lie. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they could figure out how to revive it, but a lot of characters died or were like not on the show anymore. So I don't really know exactly how they would sort of bring it back, but I'm open to it, and I love Jack Harkness. So
I think it would be fun, and I think Chris has done a great job so far with the episodes that we've seen, and I think it would be a lot of fun. And hey, Captain Jack and the 13th Doctor, that would be a lot of fun to see them interact, I think. The other thing, in the US, we have Dancing with the Stars, but in the UK, they have Strictly Come Dancing. And I don't know the pro or the star, Stacey Dooley and Kevin Clifton. They do a tango to the latest version of the Doctor Who theme. What did you think of that little tango?
I thought it was fun. I watched Dancing with the Stars, and I've always loved it. I think it comes from Strictly Come Dancing. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really like the opening, how they had the Doctor be like a time on the clock, a minute hand. There it is, clock hand. Yeah, but it was really fun. So definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it.
We'll be sure to put the link to that. The one of the I think the star Kevin is a Cyberman, so it was a fun little it was a fun little look there. Miss Mary Poppins, sock puppet is the scariest monster. I love it. Thanks, Miss Mary Poppins.
No,
We love our little Laura.
spiders are way scarier than me. I only sort of resemble the eel from The Little Mermaid.
And they, her red glasses that match Laura's red glasses. So quick little trivia, because when I saw that the title was Arachnids of the UK, I was trying to see, I remember one David Tennant episode where there was the Ragnaros where Donna was going to get married. And so there was that one, and I was looking to see if there was another one, and I found an old Who episode with the third Doctor about a planet of the spiders, and I had no idea where this was going to go, and I was like, well, maybe, perhaps the Doctor is going to take all of them. It's called the Planet of the Spiders, and the Doctor is going to take all of the spiders off of this planet to the Planet of the Spiders. And well, Lara, that would be her ideal outcome for this. So, alas, that did not happen.
No planet of spiders should exist.
But that's where all of our spiders would go, is to the Planet of the Spiders.
I liked them dying.
Okay. So, quick recap. The Doctor, Yaz, Graham, and Ryan find their way back to Yorkshire, only to find something stirring amidst the eight-legged arachnid population of Sheffield. So, a rating out of 10 TARDISes. Lorena, what do you give this Arachnids in the UK?
I am giving it a 6. It meets expectations. I definitely thought it was a classic Who. It didn't have anything like exceptional to it where I was like, wow, this is, out of control, amazing. It had all the normal elements you need, like a weird monster shows up, someone conveniently knows about it who didn't exist, before this episode. Companions get separated from the Doctor, and then the Doctor meets an evil human who she has to condescend and try to get to do the right thing. And then there's corridors and running. So it's very like standard Doctor Who. I like that. I like a good formula personally. It makes it more comfortable, especially if you have a fear of spiders. I don't, thankfully. So yeah, I like a good formulaic Who. They have at least 2 per season usually. And it's just comfortable. It's a comfortable one if you're like, I just need to not think. And since I have a cold, it was actually perfect for me this week. So 6 out of 10. Probably wouldn't watch it again anytime soon. So.
Okay. Um, Laura, sock puppet Laura, what did you think besides the spiders? What rating would you give it out of 10 TARDISes?
I would give it a 3. Um, it's still Doctor Who, so I can't hate it, but it's typical Who trying to make me care about a horrible monster. And no, I have to give it a 3. I screamed and I cried. I really did cry. And I had to take a Xanax, and it was just the worst. I was then in the kitchen, like listening. Like, I can't even give it full points because I didn't even see it all because it was too scary because of the spiders. Also, and maybe this is my hill, probably not. That's probably spiders. Yaz's hair. What was up with that? I wasn't okay with that. That's my review.
Okay. Okay. We'll talk a little bit, I guess, about more about the spiders. And Yaz's hair we can go into that. I am also only going to give it 6 out of 10 TARDISes. TARDI. I think Chelsea also said the same thing. Um, yeah. Again, like you said, it had running in hallways, Lorena. But there was some good parts about it, and I think I want to dive into a couple more plot points. So let's go into that. I'm going to start at the beginning of the episode because I noticed the time vortex, which I thought was um, a fun thing. I mean, not just in it's not the one in the credits, but when they were getting ready to land, um, the time vortex looked different.
Yeah, it was way different. I really loved it. So that was pretty cool. I was like mesmerized as I was watching it. So I thought, I'm not sure what it looked like, almost like a cave, like an underground cave structure or something with tunnels. Um, or maybe even like a brain, like if you were in, oh gosh, what it was, that show? It was like a book too for kids with the Miss Frizzle, and she had the
Oh,
little
yeah,
iguana.
Magic School Bus.
Yeah, the Magic School Bus. So it was like if you shrink down and were like inside a brain, going through like the synapses, kind of felt like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was so different than anything we've seen, and it felt less. I knew what we were doing, but it felt like totally different graphically. So that was cool.
Yeah. And it looked like the TARDIS could drop off at any different point in history. Like, next stop, it could be, 1500s Shakespeare, it could be, um, 1955 Alabama, and it just depended on which tunnel you took. So I loved that look. Um, and so the next thing that I'm not trying to completely dissect the thing, but I think dissect the episode, but I think there were a couple of other times Yaz invited them for tea, and I think for the first time that the doctor suddenly um I don't know, she felt lonely because she jumped at the chance for tea, whereas I think we saw a couple of you know I, Matt Smith's doctor went to Thanksgiving dinner, um, but the others, they didn't want to go do things with family. They like that was the last things that they would do, and I don't know. I loved that. You could see that. Waiting to be invited and that vulnerability. I loved seeing that.
Yeah, that's one thing I've really enjoyed about this doctor as well is she is way more open. Like she's happy to be with other people in a family-like way. She kept calling them her fam, and she was actually very open about having lost her own family in the first episode, and that to me was so markedly different than any like reaction to that we've seen so far, especially with like David Tennant's doctor was so like stoic against that. So seeing her so open, so excited, and not just come with me, but I'll go with you, you know, like that's cool too. You know, Tia Yaz, like everyone's going, like, aren't you guys coming? Like that's and she's just like, I haven't done Tia Yaz before. Like this is cool. This is new. And so that was fun. That was like a fun, just like more of her personality shining out, and I got excited by that. And then also, you had, when we were talking offline, you were talking about her attempts at small talk, which I thought was another good example of the Doctor in their finest. And Ryan's like, you're doing it again, you know, like you're being weird.
But I think that's a great mark of a companion, is they know how to check the Doctor, and before even officially accepting the position, they're like, hey, you're doing it again, not doing a good job at that. And they completely accepted that role well before officially agreeing. And I love the small talk. So one of the funny things, they're like, oh, I have a sister. I used to be a sister in an aqua hospital. It turned out to be a training camp for a Quiston calcium assassins. I had to look at that. I put the screen caps on so I could figure out what it was. And I know in one of the first episodes, Lara and I were like, we've watched too many things that were like conspiracy theory. Like, is this going to be a secret Easter egg for something? And I'm like, I want to know what Quiston calcium assassins are. And so I didn't do any research on that. And who knows if it's an old Who reference or not. But I'll Google that for next week and let you know.
Okay. I wanted to check really quick with our live viewers if our heads are changing, because I just can't tell on my end.
They are, yes.
Yay! Okay, thanks.
Hi, live viewers, Chelsea and Miss Mary Poppins, and
hello.
Those are the two that are there. So thanks for being there.
Okay. So we have figured out what we're going to eat when we go to the Demons of the Punjab.
Yes, because Yaz's dad is making pakora, and I had to Google what that was, but it's a fried food, and it can be vegetarian or vegan or meats. But yeah, I'm going to go find an Indian restaurant that can make me that. So that's what I'm going to eat. And I know if real Laura were here, but Sock Puppet Laura can discuss this as well. I did love how they are still talking about Graham's grief and dealing with Grace's passing. Sock Puppet?
Yeah, absolutely. That was probably my more favorite part of the episode. I just love that they're continuing that through arc for Graham and really for Ryan too. And that, he got the letter from his dad. We didn't see, he reacted that he didn't like that his dad said Graham wasn't his proper family. So I think we saw that move forward and they're coming together more. I love Graham, as you know, and I'm just so pleased they're continuing this arc and not letting it go.
And Lorena, did you have any thoughts on that?
I agree with you guys. So
Okay, okay. Well, um, let's move to the spiders and Robertson. Was that his name? Chris Noth. Um, and the hotel. I mean, we've got the woman who went into the tunnels. I'm not gonna lie, when she had her cell phone out, I really was like, is she just videoing or why isn't she live streaming? Maybe she didn't have service down there.
why
Okay,
doesn't everyone live stream,
why
right?
doesn't? Right? Why doesn't? And when Robertson came in with Kevin, why didn't Yaz identify herself as a police officer? Maybe that's the American in me going, "Hi, I'm an off-duty police officer," and you know, I don't know. Thoughts, Lorena?
Yeah, I thought that was weird, especially since that part of her character has been pretty prevalent in all the other episodes. So it just seemed odd. And maybe it was just she has a weird dynamic with her mom we didn't see all the way through. So she felt uncomfortable saying it in front of her mom. Or maybe the rules are different there. I don't know. Or maybe it's just a plot hole that we're never going to get solved.
Yeah.
So
Because I mean, even on the train in the opener, like she was all very authoritative.
yeah, but she
No,
was in her outfit then.
yeah. Oh well. Okay. So the Robertson character, this was one thing that, he was an ass, and I think we both can agree on that. Well, I think Laura would also agree that he's an ass. Um, yes, sock puppet. Uh,
Yes, I agree.
um, but I do want to only slightly get a little bit political and say we all don't want to shoot things, and I guess this is gonna be as an American, I'm only a little bit offended because, um, given how much gun violence that we have had and the number of shootings that we've had, um, in the many places from a shopping mall to a synagogue to the churches and the schools, and the debates that we have over gun control, I don't know, I just wish it would have had a different narrative that it was the American who wanted the gun and, not all Americans want the gun. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard because sorry. I
It's
was
okay.
I think it's hard because his character was so much that like bravado bullshit. But yeah, I agree. It's so non-representative, and then there's like almost a lack of sensitivity to um, the struggle that Americans face every day with gun violence, and it's definitely something this week in particular that you see and are like how is this still happening right here in our right next to us, right by us, and then to see it like played out almost caricatured, right? It was disappointing. We'll say that. I think that was just disappointing to see and kind of boring, really boring to see over and over again.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
stereotyped. Um, so but I mean, I know that that wouldn't have made him villainous, and I mean, I think that's what made.
Honestly, him pushing Kevin into the spider was enough to be like him firing Yaz's mom before we even knew who she was enough for me to know he was an asshole. I didn't need him to like have to have a gun to shoot things. Like I thought that he was very clearly a jerk and had too much power for his morality. So yeah.
Right. Completely agree. Um, So, yeah. Um,
We hate
this,
guns.
yes,
We'll just state that.
stating that. So the spiders taking over that hotel. I live in a small apartment building that has 2 floors, and I'm on the 2nd floor. And in my bedroom, the ceiling slants a little bit, and when the squirrels scatter all over the ceiling, all over the roof, I can hear it. And I'm not terrified of spiders the way Laura is, but the noises that the sound editors and sound mixers used for the spiders sounds like what the squirrels sound like when they run over the roof. And last night when I tried to go to bed, that's all I heard was the little of the spiders. And I was just like, it's not spiders, it's not spiders. And then I was like, okay, that sounded like there was something between the walls or something. And I just was like, your imagination is getting the better of you. And my brain could not turn off. I didn't take a Xanax, but um, I was having a little bit of paranoia kicking in because of how realistic the spiders were.
That's totally understandable. And if you need to do a Xanax, no one's going to judge you, okay? Because
Thanks.
spiders are the worst.
Thanks, sock puppet Laura. So can we talk a little bit about Yaz's family and perhaps that family dynamic? What did you think about mom and dad and the sister, Lorena?
Yeah, I thought they were pretty normal. But I could see where they were kind of overbearing for Yaz. And um, they were kind of, I felt like they were just flat characters we're not going to get too deep into. They kind of reminded me when we met Martha's family, about like, they're not the same, but they have that same like, this character is this character is that. They kind of are representative of what you would expect a parent characters and then a sister character to be. But when she looks back, when she's like, yeah, I'll go get the bread, at the end when she's leaving, and she knows she's leaving, for good, to go travel. And she looks back, and I thought she's thinking about that woman they met, on Desolation, who was like, don't take your family for granted. And because I felt like, she had been kind of annoyed with them, but not as much as I would have expected, the way she had talked about them driving her, nuts. Um, it was a little weird that she's like, this great job. I think being a police officer is a pretty good job to have. And her family didn't seem to totally respect that. I don't know. I thought that was a little strange. But maybe we just didn't get enough time with them. What did you think about them, Emily?
I also agreed, and I don't know. I do have some friends who are of the Indian descent, and they their mothers are always trying to, they would rather they be married or not have a job. So I don't know. Like they would like them to be um, having kids and in that sort of thing instead of pursuing a career, if that makes sense. They're a little bit more traditional. So I don't know if that might be something like that may not have come off exactly
Maybe
right.
because
Um,
they use that phrase, married to your work, married to your
right.
job.
And so I wondered if that might have been a little bit and I don't know if there would have been a different dynamic if it would have been brother and sister versus sisters. Um, and so, but they didn't seem like a traditional Indian family that my friends have.
Well, are
Um,
they? I thought they were Pakistani.
um, I think she said she gets called a name that like a derogatory name, but I don't know that she is.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. Because I guess we'll find out when we go to the Punjab. Um,
Gonna know.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
and maybe they're just from the region before it had different names than it does
yeah,
now,
yeah,
and they're just British.
yeah,
They're Sheffieldans.
yeah. So I don't know. And and maybe it's just the dynamic of the sisters, and but my hill has to do with the dad, so I'll wait though until we get to that section. But I did think that the mom, I don't know, maybe she just doesn't bring her friends around, because at first they were trying to figure out the relationship between Yaz and Ryan, and then the mom thinking that the doctor and Yaz, they're like, "Are you dating? Are you dating?" I don't know. That's where I thought that was, they're all trying to figure out her relationship to all of these guys.
Yeah. Well, the sisters seem to be into Ryan because
Yeah.
she was like, "Are you guys together?" And he's like, "No, we're just friends." And she's like, "Oh, okay, cool, just friends." It's like, oh, little sister.
Little sister. Uh, Chelsea agrees that her sister was annoying, and yeah, then and agrees that her mom was asking if she was dating the doctor, and then Ryan like, no judgment either way, whatever, whoever you're dating, just let me know. So yeah. Um, so let's talk about the other two. We didn't go into the tunnels that were underneath the thing, and the argument for reducing waste, recycling, and combustible materials, if ever there was one, because yikes.
Yeah. Like, why
Uh,
are you depositing toxic waste underneath the ground and not safely?
yeah, I mean that's I I can't even follow the train of thought that was even a good idea. Um,
I don't think anyone thought it was a good idea. I think they thought it was a cheap idea and that they wouldn't get caught. So,
okay.
because it was in like abandoned mines, coal mines.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, oh, this empty crevice of earth we can put things into and no
We
one
can
will know.
fill?
Yeah.
Still, that just is a total WTF moment. Like,
Entirely unethical and horrific for everyone. Yes.
I mean, I guess I think what I wanted was, um, I'll bring it up again, in the hill segment, but I wanted some comeuppance. I wanted some resolution. Like, there's no, you know, okay, so does a hazmat team come in? You don't ever see. So I don't know. There's no
Yeah,
resolution.
I would agree that the episode, kind of in general, didn't have a lot of resolution. It was like just assumed that the spiders would die, and you never saw that actually happen. There was no like, okay, we're gonna get people in here to clean this up. Like, you'd think the lab girl, the spider lab girl, would have, been like, okay, we were using this JLR whatever, and we're gonna take responsibility to look into doing, a better bio cleanup of the site and like get the funding. At least just like one line about how she was gonna take control of that.
Something. Something.
Um, and then Yaz's mom knew about the coal mine, so it felt like she kind of knew what was going on and didn't feel empowered to go to authorities about that. But it wasn't explicitly stated. So that was kind of a little troubling. Her mom was kind of just weird in general. How she reacted to stuff, I wasn't sure if she was like hiding something or like, I don't know. It was just like she was kind of a weird character. I want it in a good way. I want to explore her more. I'm intrigued by her. That she just kind of different. Like she of all of the family members, she obviously had the most screen time, but also to me it was the most intriguing. Like seemed like maybe more is happening, and was more interested in Yaz in general. But yeah, that was kind of is more happening. And then the lack of resolution, I think also, I mean, that gets into my hill as well. But do we want to talk about some more fun things before we get to our hills?
Yeah, I will. Before we get there, because like you said, she had the most screen time, and that makes me think back. So we had Rose and her mother, Martha and her mother. They were shown a lot in several of the other episodes. Donna and her mother were shown a lot in those episodes, and I find it interesting that many of the companions, Amy and her, didn't really have that, but River and Amy had that mother-daughter relationship that we found out later that it was the mother-daughter relationship. So I find it interesting that Doctor Who does like to develop those mother-daughter relationships. So it will be interesting to see if they do this, develop Yaz and her mother's relationship a little bit more. So
yeah, and like Clara's mom had died, as we know, but her character often took on like maternal roles. So I thought that was, it kind of plays into your theme of like the mother relationship. I will say that Martha, who we all know I love the most, she spends a lot of time with her sister. Her sister gets a fair amount of screen time as well. So I wonder if they'll do that with Yaz. I feel like they won't, mostly because we have two other companions already. But we know their family, other than Ryan's dad, we haven't met yet, but we know, Nan, Grace. So we've already met that character. Oh, that was so sad when she was appearing in the house in his memory. Sorry.
It was. Yeah.
I just tangented. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, really quickly, I Shazammed it just because I was like, what song is this that is attracting the spiders? And it's called Know Me From by Stormzy. And I'm just as uncool as all the other kids. Ryan would not think I'm cool because I had no clue what song that was. So
no one needs to know a song to attract spiders. It seems like the worst song to know.
Thanks, Laura. Our guest stars were Chris Noth and Tanya Fear. American viewers obviously knew exactly who Chris Noth was. If you've watched American TV in the last 25 years, you've seen him.
Yeah.
Lorena?
I mean, he was when they did the little who's coming up this season. He was the only guest star I recognized, which is embarrassing for me probably. But yeah, I thought it was adorable because the Radio Times put a little post out that was like, oh, here's why you might know who Chris Noth is. Like, and if you don't, here's some places you might have seen him. And I'm like, who doesn't know where they've seen him? Like, he's Mr. Big. This is like just like life 101 if you're here, or Law and Order or The Good Wife. Like, why? How could you not know who he is? But I just thought it was funny. But then, of course, I would need that article for American viewers might not know who so-and-so is. Even though they're like Matt Lucas, I didn't know who that was other than Bridesmaids, and he's the biggest deal ever. So I'm sure every British person would have been like, how do you not know who Matt Lucas is? You know, just like, but now he'll be Nardole forever. So.
Right. The girl who played the scientist, her name is Tanya Fear. Her headshot, she actually looks like Meghan Markle, which I thought was funny. And I was like, oh my gosh, she could play Meghan Markle in the BBC made-for-TV movie about Harry and Meghan. And
yeah, I don't need that movie. They did one for William and Kate. And I only know that because of the Graham. They were on Graham Norton, and exactly. I watched. I think you sent me that episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, that movie doesn't need to be made. But if it is, I do think Tanya Fear is a good candidate.
The glasses, you can't see it with the glasses. I'm just saying.
You gotta go to her headshot. Because when you were like, oh my gosh, and I was like, no, not at all. Like, what is she talking about? And then I saw her headshot, and I was like, okay, I feel that.
Okay. So yeah, you have to look her up on IMDb. She's there. So let's talk about the villain. Obviously, Sock Puppet agrees that, disagrees with Lorena and I about who the villain truly is. I mean, for me, the villain was Robertson. Sock Puppet, what do you think?
No. The villain was clearly the spiders. They were monsters. They killed people and they made me scream and literally hide in my kitchen. Like, I literally hid behind the sofa for this one. So don't go telling me that Chris Noth was so scary with his son in America. No. Spiders.
Okay. Thank you, Sock Puppet Laura.
I mean, I disagree with Laura. I think that Robertson was the true villain. And he was representative of a lot of human villains we've seen on Doctor Who, even going back, the one in Nine's time when they were in the Satellite 5, and it's like the guy, Simon Pegg, I think, plays him on the top level. And he's like so pompously in charge, yet someone else is controlling him. Like, I thought that Robertson was an alien. I thought he was going to be like the S's, Slovene, where they have their like human suits and then they have to like get out of it. And I thought he was going to be some like giant spider underneath, or have like a image inducer thing, like the Vampires of Venice did. But you're having major reactions that no one can hear, and I don't know what is happening for you.
I just icked about it being in a spider suit.
Well, he's like, I have a scheduled bathroom break. First of all, what? No one does that. That's not human behavior. And then he goes into the next room, and you hear this weird clackety clack clack, squirrels. And I was like, surely he's getting out of his human suit so he can use the bathroom, because maybe he has to feed every so often or something. This was what I was thinking. What?
And he's going to feed on Kevin. Is that what you thought?
Yeah, or something. Like, why is Kevin around? Clearly he's not considered a human. No, I definitely thought he was an alien until I knew he wasn't. And then I was disappointed.
Okay.
A little bit.
Well, I mean, I also agree that Robertson was definitely the villain. And I just was like, he was very good in his role because it made me hate him. And I didn't think that he was going to be a spider in a human suit, but yeah. But just like you said earlier, the way he treated Yaz's mom, and uh but I did have a feeling that there was going to be something when the woman was going into the tunnels and was filming it, that we would get to see something, that she was going to look up at the ceiling and see something. So um yeah.
I definitely thought there'd be more to that scene than there was. Can
um
I just interrupt a second and
yes.
tell Lorena that I hate her? Because now I cannot watch Sex in the City ever again without thinking of Big being a spider. That's it. Sorry, Laura.
Laura, can you watch Chamber of Secrets because you love Harry Potter?
I don't want to discuss that. I will say I did just see Chamber of Secrets on Friday, and it has way more spiders. So I think that, Laura probably could watch this episode better than Chamber of Secrets, but she could skip that section and be okay. Whereas the whole show, you can't skip the whole show. Otherwise you're just not watching it.
Right. I wonder, though, was the spider in the ballroom bigger than Aragog?
I don't think so. Having just seen this CGI to compare, I would say no. Because if you actually, in the 6th film, not Prisoner of Azkaban? No, that's the 3rd film. The Half-Blood Prince, when he is when Harry takes the Felix Felicis, sorry guys, we're going Harry Potter here right now. And he goes down to Hagrid's hut and Aragog has died. And so Aragog's dead on the ground in, this kind of position. And if you compare that to this spider, they, to me, are, Aragog is much larger. Like the fang, the size of the little, whatever, pointy bits. Yeah, the pinchers. Because he wants to get it for the venom, Slughorn does. So when the doctors sat down by the spider to, be like coax it to death or whatever, that was the same. Like when I compare body size, that's Aragog is bigger.
Okay, so acromantulas are bigger than the mutated toxic waste spiders in Sheffield.
To the point that they didn't die from their own suffocation.
Got it.
Because the spiders never stopped growing, as we learned.
Right. Okay. So the other option, instead of taking them to Planet of the Spiders, is we could have had Hagrid come down and get all the spiders and take them and relocate them.
That would be a breach of the statute of secrecy.
Okay, well, we just have to do it under the invisibility cloak. Okay. Anyway, sorry for the tangent, everyone. We're also big Harry Potter nerds, that you know. We are going to talk about our episode hills that we are going to die on. And Lorena, what is your episode hill that you are going to die on?
Yes, I am going to die on the hill that is the Doctor not stopping this evil Robertson from potentially gaining true power through the presidency. The reason that this is a hill for me is because in Tennant's first episode, the Christmas special, Prime Minister Harry Jones uses Torchwood to blast the leaving villain, the Sycorax. We did it last time. Out of the sky. And the Doctor is like, that's not okay, first of all. And then he's like, she's overreached her power. In his mind, he's thinking this. And then he's like, I can take you down with just 6 words. And then he says to her version of Kevin, don't you think she looks tired? And the fact that the doctor just looked at Robertson and did nothing, that really bothered me. That was like, why is this not happening? Why is she doing that? Is this part of her new personality? Which then I could die on that hill, or not die on that hill, I guess. But it felt like I don't want that to be part of her personality. Like, I like that the doctor, can give that comeuppance you were talking about earlier, Emily, and that we could see people grow from their experiences, and that this, horrible individual wouldn't then feel even more self-assured he's right to be the president of the United States. And it just felt like she had a moment where she could stop him or indicate she was planning to, and she didn't. And she just looked at him with disgust. And that was disappointing for me. So that's my hope.
Agree. And that's, I mean, that's the, like I said, the comeuppance. And I'm like, where is the investigation? Where is the hazmat cleanup? Where are the fines and the, investigation into all the other massive hotel portfolios that were built on similar sites? And
right, where's our bureaucratic montage?
Absolutely, that shows the shutting down and the arrest and the, imprisonment and massive fines levied and destruction of the company. That these spiders, while, sorry, sock puppet Laura, terrible, have brought down this evil man. So
yeah, that the spiders could have been truly the heroes or the catalyst of change. And that's the fantasy I want to see played out. I want to see, the privileged white male getting his comeuppance and, justice and fairness happening. That's what I want to see in my fantasy shows.
And isn't that what the doctor stands for?
That's what I always thought. So yeah, I'm dying on the hill. You can die with me.
Yeah, I do. My hill is tangentially related. My hill is the toxic waste that Yaz's dad brought home. Especially when they knew what it was and where it came from. Why was it sitting on the dining room table? Why was it in their living room? Why was it in the kitchen? Why were they just handling it without gloves? Why was it there? Why were they not disposing of it? Why did they not get a hazmat team to clean it up once they knew where it came from and what it was causing? Like, they nonchalantly were just wiping it off the dining room table. And I'm not a neat freak. I'm not like walking around with a white glove doing, a dusting test. Like, I could, pull up dust from the sideboard, but oh my gosh, I was so annoyed by the toxic waste that people just nonchalantly left in their house. So that is my hill, because people were dying and spiders were breeding in the toxic waste. That is my hill.
I mean, your hills are good, but my hill is spiders. Just don't do it. Just don't make spiders be on your show. That's really, it's not that much to ask. They're awful. They're the worst. Don't do it.
Laura, I love you.
I love you too.
And when you watch this, I hope you love it as much as I love it.
All right. So, we're coming to a close here, and I think we have some important updates about next week.
Yeah. Chelsea is like, the episode left so many loose ends and the garbage was also gags. So thank you, Chelsea, for dying on my hill with me. Um, and I hope you guys loved our discussion as much as we did. And I don't know, did we leave anything out? Are there any other questions that you guys have for us before we go on to announcements? I think we're good. Lorena, announcements for next week?
Well, just real quick before we do that, I remembered that we wanted to say that we really loved how the companions joined Team
Oh,
TARDIS,
yes.
which
Duh.
stole our name. Whatever, it's fine. We can all be in the TARDIS. It's pretty big and it has a pool. Yeah, but I thought that was great. And I like that she told them to be really sure. Because it will change you, fundamentally, and possibly kill you or your family.
And we haven't seen that before. I mean, before they just unsuspectingly come along or they accidentally end up there.
Yeah,
And
I think Donna Noble might be the only one where she really made a informed choice about what she was doing.
yeah, agree.
And spiders were involved. So
Absolutely.
all right. So next week is a big week in America. Emily, this is your what's the word? Soapbox. There we go. So I want you to get on it and let us know what needs to happen next week.
It should be everybody's soapbox, but it is Tuesday when we normally do our hangouts. And next Tuesday, I think everybody in America is going to be watching election returns because it is election day and we are all going to be exercising our right to vote or sit in front of the TV and watch election returns come in as we watch great races like the Georgia governor's race or the Florida governor's race, the Texas Senate race, and many other races from across the country. So instead of trying to divide our attention between a computer and a TV and losing our train of thought, we are going to reschedule our hangout, but we want to make sure everybody is definitely registered to vote or goes out and votes. And we're because I'm messing up all the things I want to say because I know you want to talk to Lorena and have you have things to say. We want to, I use the website votesaveamerica.com. So if you have questions about what your ballot looks like and in explaining what a yes or a no vote is, we have a weird one about rent control in California and what that means and what a yes vote means and what a no vote means. That's Proposition 10. They explain what that does. So go to Vote Save America and you can enter in your address and it'll explain your ballots for you. It's a great thing for you to look into if you don't know how to vote on particular measures. Go check that out. Go vote next Tuesday. It's really important. It matters. One vote does matter. There have been elections in the last election decided by just one vote. So don't think that your vote doesn't matter. We really want you to get out and vote. But that means that our hangout will actually be on Wednesday. So
that's right. And I think we can all remember last week's episode where a small change can really make a big difference. So you can be that small change. If you're an American, get out there, go vote early, vote on the day. If you're in New York and can't vote early, really exercise your right because it's earned and it's awesome. And yeah, I don't even want to say the thing we're going to say because I don't even want to be partisan here. So just vote. Democracy is awesome.
Okay, the Surunga, I'm saying that wrong, conundrum, because I don't know how to say it and I looked it up and we can't find it, is what we're going to be talking about next Wednesday. Join us. We'll be promoting it on That's Normal. We look forward to talking to you next week. Have a great week, everybody. Have a safe Halloween tomorrow, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.